What are we saving for?
You tell me.
Dude, I don't know anymore. I had like one of these moments today where I called another buddy of mine and I was like, what do we do? And I didn't want to be like all, woe is us, because we're both around the same age, and
Wait, you two or you and I? You're
but all of us, all three of us,
okay.
and was just like, dude, what in the heck, man? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do about retirement. I don't have $3 million just sitting there right now. I've got maybe 10 years. Here's what happened: is I visited my father yesterday, and he's living in a really 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 awesome fifth wheel and a really really kick ass Dodge Ram 3500. Right, he sold his house and the land to have all this stuff and basically own it outright. But fixed income, Social Security, like it's difficult. Even then, it's difficult. I mean, he's got a job doing some retail stuff, and I think it helps with him not be bored. But it also
Why I did that?
me either.
Weird. Okay, carry
But
on.
but but it helps him not be bored, but also gives him income because he needs some extra income. Like it's just not
Right.
enough when you own everything to still pay insurance on an RV and a car or a truck. Rent at a place, like just all this kind of stuff. So I went to bed. Went to bed, I think, with that on my mind. And then this morning, got up, did a little bit of things, and then I watched a video from this wonderful lady, early 60s, was talking about how she kind of lived a nomadic life, RV life, while the pandemic was going on, and then things happened. She had to help her mom and then her dad, and they both ended up passing away. And then like ageism kept her from getting another job, and she's sitting here like, I have a really small nut to make every month, but it's hard. It is very hard. So I woke up
Interesting.
with all that happening and I talked to him. I was like, dude, I need some counseling. I kind of vented to my wife when we were on our walk this morning. I'm like, I'm freaking out a little bit here, and I'm like, what? Money? What? Like all of the things. Like, why do we have taxes on property when you haven't sold it yet? Those kinds of things. Everything
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just kind of went on. So just like thinking about what are we saving money for? Really, I came to this in my conversation with my buddy. I was like, is the right thing to have spent the last 40 years, because I've been working since I was 14, right? Let's call it 16. It doesn't matter. Last 30 years. Should I have been socking away everything above what I was earning as a Marine, right? 13,000 a year, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Or right after the Marines when I was making like 45, $50,000, right? Should I have been socking away everything above and beyond that just so that I could put all that money aside and like live this like austere life? Hold on. Live as austerely as I could so that hopefully when the time came, my body stopped working and people didn't want to employ me anymore, that I could actually just like continue to live an austere life.
Right.
You know, that's where it left me. And I was just like, shoot, man, I didn't save enough, but could I have saved enough? What am I saving for?
It's it's a great question, and I think it doesn't get asked enough. It's basically just a statement that you have a job, save. Nobody ever asks. Well, I guess the 30,000 foot answer is, well, retirement. Okay, and nobody questions it. They're like, got it, save for retirement. But there's no, I, I don't know, and I fell into it. You fell into it, I'm sure. And it's just okay, money aside, save for retirement, and that's the thought that's given to it. Nothing beyond that. It feels responsible. Um, you feel like you're getting ahead. You are planning for that eventuality when you're 70 years old and you stop working and you're going to have this big pile of money, to go do all this great stuff with, and nobody questions it at 20.
Well, we don't even think about planning for it. We don't even, this is a classic thing of like, we don't know what we don't know. Like, I didn't know that, is it Medicare or Medicaid? But one of them can take away your property if you owe them money after you die. And it's like, that's brutal, you know? Just the impact of like, all right, well, most Americans have their, money tied up in a home. They've been paying for 30 years on a home. They finally have it. And then it's like, well, my house is, I bought it at 400,000. Now it's worth $4 million. I'm being taxed like it's $4 million. I don't have the money to pay the taxes on this. And then like, what, you lose it?
Yeah.
And then you only get fair market value versus, what like it was, but yet you were taxed like it was worth that the whole time. It's just like, those things we don't think about obviously when we're 20. But even then, like the other thing that we absolutely cannot factor in is things like inflation. Because like maybe your number was $1 million 20 years ago, but like that ain't it now.
And it's funny, I think, and this is just my feeling about this number, because you've said it twice now, that like, and the reason you've said it is because everybody says it. Well, what's your number in retirement? Is it $1 million?
All
is
of
it
it.
$2 million? Is it $10 million? And really, I guess this is just for me, you just need to know what is your projected spending. Of course, how long is a piece of string is the question. Like, it's as long as it needs to be. And that's the same thing. Well, you don't know what your spending is going to be like, but I think that's an easier predictor. And then your $1 million is just an extrapolation of that. You take your spending and you say, okay, now spread that out, multiply that by 30 years, and that's the number you need. And then subtract Social Security and anything you have,
Or
like
do
pension
you?
or something. What do you mean?
I mean, do you subtract Social Security? Like whatever. I mean, now that's dipping into the negative, right? Where it's like,
Well,
I don't.
I'm telling you, I hear all this, 2032, it's going to run out of, well, it's not going to run out of money. It's just going to pay about 70, I think it was 70% or 80%, somewhere in that range of benefits, which that's a big drop, but people say it's going to run out of money. It's like, it's not going to run out of money. Like people are just going to one day wake up and no Social Security check. However, there is no way in hell, there's no way that either side in Congress lets that happen. We're going to have much bigger problems if they let that happen.
Really?
So,
Do you think that's the thing that's finally going to set off we're going to go we're going to take the government back, right? What, a bunch of old people that can't afford like medicine anymore? We're like limp up there with our diabetes and
well,
shake our fists.
stranger things have happened.
That's true. That's true. Look, I think you're right. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but that 30% drop with the penalties of like, look, you can't earn more than X amount. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
dude, if you make $1 more than what you're supposed to, you get none of it. And like the penalties just are too harsh where you're like, can I please just have back the money that I gave you?
Right.
Just
Well,
a little
it
bit
would be
at a
nice
time?
to have like a single saver or single account, instead of all the money going into Social Security. I mean, I like the idea of it goes into your personal account that you're not allowed to touch. There's issues with that, but I'm a pretty deliberate and disciplined saver, or put money aside. So that would work for me. Maybe it doesn't work for somebody else. And maybe there's problems that I don't even know about with that system. But, the system we have now, it's very much feels like a pyramid scheme where it's like we're relying on the people after us to pay for us, and they're relying on the people after them to pay for them. And then what happens if, you keep reading about the birth rate going down? It's like, well, what happens when people aren't getting into the workforce like they used to? Or what happens when AI replaces people? And there's a million problems and doomsday scenarios, but
Well,
what are we saving for? That's the question.
that is the question. I mean, we'll get back to that little thing. It's like, what are we saving for? But like, it gets me to the point of like, all right, look, maybe, the book, The Giver, where, at a certain point in an older person's life, they just have a nice meal with everybody. They get to say goodbye. They get to walk through this other door. That's the next part of their life. And like, what happens over there? I don't know. Maybe it's a dignified exit, to where we're just like, you know what? I don't need to be a burden on my family. Like I'm sitting here thinking about turning my house into a multi-generational home so that, the kids.
Do you have acreage or just
No,
a small
yeah, I
lot?
do. I have like 0.024 acres. It's more
Baller.
than your 2 square feet, but not much more than your acreage, in
But I
California.
don't have any neighbors.
True. It's so true.
Did I tell you that I looked it up? I
Yeah.
went and looked at the property on Google
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah. I should buy the ones around you. I should surround your area and then force a tax on you.
Yeah, I wonder. It's just funny. My daughter and I I brought her in. I'm like, hey, there's my property. I'm a lord, and she's like, obviously, it's not a current, picture of it. She's like, well, where's the tree? He's like, I paid extra for a tree. I'm like,
She's like, dude,
shit,
you bought it a year ago.
now I only have 1 square feet. The damn tree's
You're-
going to take up. I can't even
This is-
sit under my tree.
No, not for a long time. And here's the deal. I want to,
And by the way, there it is.
Your Highness.
Thank you.
I want to buy the 8 around you, and
So
then
that's what I'm saving for, by the way, to answer the question.
okay, all right.
Move to my
either
2
way.
square feet.
Yeah, that's it. So, all right, let's get to the topic. Saving for, man. Right now I'm saving to not be more in debt, right? I'm saving for you never know when things are going to go crazy. We put a new roof on the house here, and granted, it wasn't a full, we didn't have to throw $32,000 at it. We had insurance covering parts of it, but dude, there's going to be ACs that are coming on. There's going to be other things. Maybe the water softener is going to suck. I mean, we've got other things that we need to do where it's just like, dude, we're going to take our vacation. Why do I do the air quotes? We go to Branson every year. I love it because it's beautiful and it's green and it gets me away from everything I can unplug. But we're not saving for a big European vacation or anything crazy. Heck, Heather and I just on a whim, we're like, Clemson's playing LSU September 5th. That's our anniversary, 20 years. We're going to go to Baton Rouge. We're going to go. And I don't enjoy spending $500 a ticket to see a football game, but we're not going to be 20-year anniversary folks anymore. And Clemson isn't going to be in that Death Valley on our anniversary again. It's kind of just sort of has to happen. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, fine. It's cool. The overall thing is going to cost us a couple grand and we're going to drive out and stay and, whatever. It's not that big of a deal, but it's also that's a third of an air conditioner.
True. Okay. So look at it this way. I mean, are you is this your forever house? Where you're living now? I know you said turn it into a generational, whatever. Do you think that's where you're going to be?
I don't. Okay. I'll answer it this way.
Or is it up in the air?
It's not necessarily up in the air, but it's probably going to end up being our forever house. And I tell you, there's one repair that if we do, I'm staying. I just am. I found out that the code in our home is let's say here's the drywall on the inside and here's the outside of the house where you have your siding and stuff, right? And when our home was built in 2006, the code here in Texas that was adopted, and it didn't change until 2012, was this: you could have drywall on the inside, you have the studs in the middle, and then you have your insulation in there. Then you have on the outside of the studs, you would have plastic, a vapor barrier, and then the siding. There's no 3/4 inch sheathing. There's no anything else. So no wonder my home sucks when it comes to efficiency. So if I'm going to fix that, it's going to be pulling all the siding off, putting insulation in, sheathing, vapor barriers on both sides, and then they're dude, it'll be the most efficient home in the neighborhood why would I leave? Like
And
I'm never
and
going
if
to.
you do that, then that's an investment for sure. Like
Yeah,
that's
dude.
it's not
Yeah. And
it's
if I
not a
do
cheap
that, I may
thing.
as well also change the way the kitchen is, convert my office. It can expand that way into like a bigger master bedroom, add a second bathroom. Like the whole thing is like, sure, we're going to take all the equity out, make this a multi-generational home, and there we go.
Well, the reason I was asking about that is because if I know if it wasn't going to be your forever home and you were had to replace the air conditioner and it was going to cost you 20 grand, let's say for the system. I don't know what it costs out there, but we had a quote here that was about 18 to 20 grand for a new air conditioner.
Yeah.
And I just thought it's like is it worth that, or you spend that 2 grand on this trip and go see the Clemson. Financially, it's, I don't know. You could, if you're just looking at numbers, obviously one's way cheaper than the other, but the memory dividend that, I think it's the die with zero that Bill Perkins talks about. And it's just that dividend that you're going to be spending that money, and then you have the rest of your life to remember that and enjoy that. So that $2,000 could, compound over the next 30 years of just not financially, but just personal enjoyment and
Yeah.
memories.
Yeah, no, that's why we're doing it. Again, there are too many things that are
Yeah.
lining up where it's like, okay, look, the kids are of an age where they can handle themselves. We're going to be able to go and do this. And like,
Yeah.
it's not like we haven't seen Clemson games before. I mean, I bought our whole family, tickets. Granted, they weren't super expensive, but spending a grand to get 10 people in was an awesome experience. Plus being at Clemson, you get to go on the field at the end. Like that was fun. So no, I'm right there with you, but it's like if I were sitting down, like it wouldn't have been on my bingo card that we're going to go to a Clemson game at
Yeah.
LSU and spend 50% more than what we took all 10 of us to a game in Clemson, right? It's like the value for the memory. If we're thinking about the return on that investment on the memory and the
Hmm.
compounding there, it's like, yeah, it would have made way more sense to spend $1,500, 2 grand, and just treat the whole family, an extended family in Clemson and spend time with family versus come in on a Friday, spend a night, do Saturday, spend Saturday night and drive home. Like we could have spent a week around Thanksgiving. That's what we used to kind of do, is just do the week around Thanksgiving. So this is just one of those things where it's like we were not saving for that,
Hmm.
but we just happen to have enough saved to where it doesn't, we can grab that as well.
So when you were a kid, or not even a kid, you're a young adult, you get your first job or your second job and you're working, and, or I guess it could even be a kid, when you hear about savings, well, you should save your money. Why? Well, you can get the big house, you can get the big car, you can get do all the vacations, get a dirt bike, get a boat. And I know I had those same thoughts and dreams about saving as well, but I'll tell you now, I just, I wanted, well, not now, but even to go back, say, um, I don't know, 10 years, 5 years, something like that. I just want freedom. I don't want a boat. I just want to be able to have enough money that I don't have to answer the bell to somebody else. And, it's funny because I'm trying to convey that information to my kids, and they're in their early 20s. And I can just see there's not the connection. Like they understand the concept, but they're like, yeah, but wouldn't it be cool to have this? It's like, yeah, but I was the same way. So
Yeah.
it's just, I
Yeah.
think it's just the ignorance of youth. But I would say, for me personally, even right now, what I am saving for is just freedom. Whatever that looks like, where I can just wake up in the morning, I don't have to do anything. I can just go have a cup of coffee, or I can go do something. But it's entirely up to me.
Yeah. Do you see that saving is enough? Like, I think the reason I ask is I'll explain that in a minute, but do you think saving is enough?
So when I say saving, I just want to clarify, I'm not just talking about, I mean investing as well. I kind of use savings as, and I don't know if that's what you were asking, but I just wanted to clarify that, so if somebody were to watch this and go, well, saving sucks, you need to invest. It's like, I just use it as a generic term.
Yeah,
So
not spending that on something or whatever. Yeah, because I've been thinking through this, and I probably saw the concept somewhere where, oh, lost my video. Hang on one second. This is where we work on the show.
this is great, great, great. You get to see
You
how the
can
fudge is made.
disconnect, but I don't want to disconnect. Okay, here we go. This
And this is
sucks.
why we watch. Just clip that out.
Jeez, dude. Bear with me. I don't want that to stop. You know what? Here we go. We're continuing as is. All right. So the question is saving enough? And you've said, all right, I'm investing too. And I think where I was going in my own head is that I think I've seen this somewhere, but basically where it's sort of like downsizing a little bit. Maybe not downsizing, it's probably not the word, but just spending less. And like, I asked Heather this morning, I was like, hey, look, how are we supposed to have a no spend August if we've got a birthday party that's coming up? My daughter Joy's turning 13, and 13 means something. And like whatever.
Teenager.
Another one, a third one, which is awesome. Said no one.
Another
No,
one.
I'm kidding. It's gonna be great. But yeah, I was just like, I think what people are doing is they're consciously spending less, consciously trying not to buy stuff, or consciously maybe sometimes even doing what I've been doing for a while, which is trying to find multiple purposes for the same thing. Like for example, when I got this, I'm like, all right, well, this helps me film the girls while they're competing gymnastics while I can shoot with my regular camera, or I don't have to worry about, babysitting the actual video, and it does a dang good job, right? So that, but then also I can use it as a webcam stand super effectively, as you can see right now, because it didn't work. But I try to find two reasons for a thing. If I need a knife, it's got to fulfill sort of two purposes or whatever. So that's sort of a prepper thing where it's two is one,
But
one is
two
none,
is
right?
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to have two uses of a thing. And that gets hard when it's like, I need to buy a skill saw. Well, is it also a whatever? It doesn't work that way, right? So that is a question. Do you think that saving is enough, or do we need to change our consumer habits too?
I think consumer habits more so than savings.
What do you mean?
So one of the things that, and they haven't specifically said this to me, but I get the feeling that when I talk to my kids about, setting money aside, and then I'll say, okay, yes, you're setting money aside, but then I see their spending habits, and I see, they're going to Starbucks all the time, or they're eating out every night. And it's like, okay, you're
The
doing all
latte
these
effect,
things.
right?
And it's like I said, so neither one of them has said this, but I get this feeling that's like, well, I'll just make I'll be making more money, next year, and then it'll all work out. And it's like, if you can't control your spending and your consumer habits when you don't have any money, it doesn't automatically get better when you start making money. And in fact, I would argue it gets worse, because your lifestyle increases with your income. So if you can learn to live on nothing, and then while you're setting money aside, and then, as you get more money, my first thought when you used to get money, like my old thinking was, well, you just set that new money aside because it's found
That's
money.
bonus. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to miss it. But now it's, are you, by doing that, are you then sacrificing the life along the way for this point in the future that, I mean, let's be honest, may or may not come depending on your health or accidents or, what have you.
Yeah. Well,
So go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I interrupted it a little bit, but I'm just going to keep rolling with it. What about, I mean, thinking of sort of the prepper mentality of it too, right? It's like rather, and I didn't follow this obviously, but like, wouldn't you rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, And I agree with you on our kids with like the lifestyle creep, right? And the inflation of our lifestyle as we do it, because we all fall victim of it. But what about the rather have it, not need it than need it, not have it? And, wouldn't that be okay? It's like, would you rather be like, you know what? Now I sound like my grandma, like I have it for a rainy day and
Yeah.
it's literally sitting under my bed mattress. So that, I got it just in case I freaking need the thing.
But what's funny? I found, and I was this way, and I maybe to a certain extent I am, that you save for the rainy day, and then the rainy day comes, and then you don't spend it. You're like, wow, it's not really that rainy, and then you delay it even more. And I think you're just not. I don't know. There's something to that die with zero, and maybe it's because the book is like just fresh with me. I mean, I read it a while back, but for whatever reason, I think I've sacrificed the life along the way more than I should have.
That's optimistic and I love it. I really do. Today, however, I'm filled with I will die with zero because I will have zero and then I will die because I
In
won't
the
have
negative
a way to
way.
live. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, neato. I can't afford food, and like, I mean, there's a weight loss program right there, right? Just can't afford the food. You're going to rot away. Like,
Look at Mr. Brightside.
yeah. 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 So saving for, it's really interesting, right? Like I think that if I could go back, it would be to do this thing that is part B of what we already do, which I hope that we're really bringing into like the minds of our kids, which is let's spend good money for experiences. Like you don't need a boat, you can rent a boat. You don't need a house in the mountains of Vail, but you can Airbnb it. Like rent the experience, right?
Well, and what do they say? The two best days of a boat owner's life are the day he buys it and the day he sells it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's true. But so that's part one. But then the other part is that you do save so that you could upgrade the experience a little bit, right? Maybe that's something that I can help them, kind of understand because like, dude, we're not saving for a home upgrade. It's just like, oh crap,
Right.
that thing broke. I'm going to do the thing that's going to make it last longer. So an upgrade is going to be it. Like I'm dealing with irrigation right now and an in-ground irrigation system is a home upgrade. But like I've got a leak under our big tree in the front and it seems to be coming from up under my freaking driveway, which blows my mind, blows my, irrigation guy's mind. But I'm sitting here like, can we literally stop the bleeding of that water and just let me put a hose and a sprinkler on a timer? And for less than $100, I've solved this problem. Like I'm not going to upgrade that. I'm just like, that was already an upgrade. I just need water consistently in my yard so it doesn't turn into tumbleweed, that kind of a thing. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. To continue with my charming gloom, saving when like things are inflated makes it harder to sort of save. You lose the momentum to just like save or to like stay out of debt or to whatever because you're just like, dude, it used to be we could go every other week to Costco and be out of there for about $250. It's $400 now. And
Yeah.
our family hasn't, Mikey's gotten bigger and he eats a little bit more, but it's not double. And we're not even coming back with a lot of stuff. I don't have 6 bags of Boom Chicka Pop, right?
Right.
It's 2 bags, right? So we've skinny things down just a little bit, but like when you think about, all right, I'm saving for what? It's like the stuff becomes more expensive. So it's like if you're thinking of saving for a holiday in 10 years, like, dude, you need to save double. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
true.
Um, I'm checking notes.
Okay. I'm just looking at my certificate of being a Lord again.
You know, I think I've hit, all right. I think I've hit on the fears, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, why am I saving? I'm going to run out of money. Like I said, you know, die with zero. It's like, yeah, I'll hit zero and then I'll just start to fade away.
Right.
Yours is more like, no, I can't take it with me. I'm going to like stretch it out. Like I sort of feel like I'm going to die over, you know, 2 Wednesdays from now. So, you know, I got enough in the fridge to last till then. I'm good. You know, like there's that. You know, like I think of, you know, I've hit up on like the fear of like the cost of healthcare, that's what it's going to be, which fine. I don't need to live forever. I just don't want to be
Well,
in pain or a
I saw some,
burden.
yeah, I saw something interesting about healthcare that, people often assume, I think there was a survey done and they said, well, what's the most expensive thing you're going to spend, or what's the thing you're going to spend the most money on in retirement? And I think a majority of people said healthcare. And it actually, by the statistics, turned out to be, it wasn't in the, I don't know what number it was, but it wasn't at the top. It was maybe near the top, but somewhere in the middle. And, healthcare is actually more, not that it's super affordable, but I think it's more affordable than people think it is when they actually look at the numbers. It's, I wish I could, what I need to do is when I see these things, I need to save the link instead of this. Hey, I saw this thing. I don't know what it says, but here's some things that I kind of remember. They might be wrong, but just trust me.
Yeah, but at least you don't have the proof that you're a goofball
That's
when
right.
you have it right now. No, I think I understand what you're saying. You know, it's funny though. I've been seeing some reports lately though that like just the cost of dental work is like more than, and I think A Perfect Union is a YouTube channel that did an expose or a breakdown on this too, where it was like, hey, look, you know, I went and I had like a heart surgery and it was $0 to me because I have good insurance, but I have the same good insurance for dental, and like a crown is like 8 grand. It's like that's
Holy crap.
a fair bit. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to watch it. I didn't watch it. I started watching it and was like, all right, that's it. But that's interesting that you say that though. When you think, yeah, all right, I'm going to have a lot of like healthcare.
Yeah.
I hope that I'm doing enough now, because
Hmm.
we heard the saying. It's like, look, you can pay now or you can pay later, but like your health is important. It's like you can pay now by having quality food and not drink crappy stuff and just sort of treat your body a little bit better. And
Right.
I'm currently like an Adonis. All right. I'm in the greatest shape of any human being on the planet. All right. My cardio is through the
Obviously.
roof. I'm ripped. You can't tell. You can't tell under these droopy shoulders, but I'm jacked, bro. All right. No, I just hope that I have
I'll take
enough.
your word for it.
I hope that I just have enough to keep, you know, it sort of has stuck with me, John, that like jujitsu was helping me learn how to fall down but get back up, and like literally, like, you know,
Yeah.
I would train with Master Carlos. I'm like, this dude's way older than I am at the time, still is, and it's like he can train with me and he can get up. Like I was like, I don't want to fall down, have to hit the life alert, and then live with a busted hip the whole rest of my life. I want to be able to get back up. So,
Yeah.
um,
Jujitsu, I mean, not to sidetrack it, but man, I enjoyed it so much. And it's it just got to a point, like, I mean, even from the very beginning, because I've always had back issues, and I was feeling okay, and I started the classes, and then I just couldn't escape, like, every other day, like something's going on with my back. And then surprisingly, they started affecting my migraines. Like I would get a migraine almost daily after every training session. And it just sucks because it's like, I love doing it so much, and I was learning, progressing, and and then it comes to a point where it's like your body's like, nah, we're not doing this. Sorry.
Yeah, this is probably worth
Anyway,
another.
sorry.
No, that's probably worth another sort of a discussion on there too, because I still
Sure.
I yearn to train jujitsu. I just can't train the way I can't. Hell, I was in my mid 30s when I started, and I'm down near Camp Pendleton and San Clemente training, and it's where everybody was like a hopped
Yeah.
up on Monster Marine, which I'm
That,
fine with. It was
that
just
was
like,
Flavio's school, right?
yeah, it was Flavio's
Yeah.
school, and we just had there was just so much physical pressure from like younger people that didn't have kids or a pregnant wife or a career yet.
And
They're
then
just like,
and then you get a Division 1 or a high school wrestler come in
yeah,
that
dude, forget
takes a
it, right?
class, and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, I think Kai was in there. He was a good. I mean, he's a black belt now, but he was a heck of a wrestler. And yeah, those
Yeah.
those dudes just like whatever. But I'm like, I could go for like I want some resistance, right? But it's like I just need to be able to keep my body moving in a way where I'm not going to damage my knee and then have to quit again, or because it will happen. So it's like, dude, can I
Yeah.
roll with dudes that are 40 and 50 that literally just want to flow? And the
Yeah.
sad part is, I think the only people that can do that are your high level instructors. And now that I say that out loud, I'm like, maybe I just need to sign up and get some private lessons instead. That's all.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is that what you're saving for then?
I'm not going to save for that.
Do you see
That's
what I
going to
did?
come out of the cell phone budget or something. You know what I mean? Like we'd find a way to figure that thing out. But it would be one of the things that got cut for,
Yeah.
cheese and milk and bread.
Sure.
But we say all this stuff, and I mean, our minds go a million miles a second. But there is something I'm symbolically saving for. It's it's more managing my finances instead of saving. It's again intentional. It's like I've tried to be as a parent, but being intentional with staying out of debt and managing finances and trying to think about good financial moves now because I've made so many horrible ones. The symbolic thing that I'm saving for is that my kids learn from that example. You know, I I hope I hope
That's a
that
that's a direction I didn't even think about, was the symbolism of this, what it would do to your kids. I'm thinking more in the linear,
yeah,
put
they
money
get a bucket
aside,
of
blah, blah,
money.
blah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. No, I mean, I'd love to leave them a bucket of money. Unfortunately, I think the only way that could happen is if if I die with a corporate pen in my hand, so I can get
But
double the life insurance.
I could argue that that might actually be in some ways more valuable to them in the long run if they learn that from you, rather than if you were just to hand them a big, I mean, maybe you could do both.
We assume they're going to take our wisdom as actual wisdom, but we're probably they're probably making fun of me on the other side of the wall
Yeah.
over there. Dad and his old friend talking about how they're good
What a
people.
nerd.
Dads, dorks. No, but I would in the absence of a retirement for them. Like I think, we started IRAs for the kids a few years ago, just put a couple $1,000s in it and just said, look, let that just kind of grow on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I think at that point in time, I was already like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do the things that are going to help me retire with like comfort. Like
Right.
I'll retire out of necessity, I think, or be retired out of necessity. But like, I don't know
So
that I'll
with
just be able to chill out and like finances are taken care of.
so with that said, are you are you- are you saving assuming that you can do something later because you'll have the time or the money to do it?
No,
So
I'm
go ahead.
no, my saving like yours is investment, and it's
Mm-hmm.
my plan. Like we can't control it, right? But my plan is that it does grow. And I hope, I've still got some years for it to be able to grow. I can't take a
Right.
2008. I can't take a, 2020 like dive, like those kinds of things, right? But there's gonna be some money there. I absolutely don't feel like, oh, I can literally just wake up and do whatever I want to do because the mortgage is paid, the power bill's paid, the water bill's paid, the Costco run is paid for. Like I have extra money to take a flight and go visit family. Like none of that. Like no, it's like, yeah, I don't at our current rate of spending, which everybody says, oh, it's not going to be as much. No, it's going to be as much because of inflation. Like it's a couple years kind of a thing.
Is there anything you I mean, I don't know if you've, well, I'm assuming you've done some kind of budgeting, but that you could cut from your spending?
Yeah,
Or are you
that
pretty streamlined?
no, there's a whole lot. And the thing about that is that there are certain things that you don't turn off. Like, yeah, you stop. We talked a little bit about this. Like you stop the subscriptions and things like this, but like the financial problem it's not a latte, dude. It's not a latte a day. You know what I mean? It's that there isn't money sitting there compounding, right? So the there's when you're
Yeah,
raising
but
kids,
those two could be hand in hand, you with the,
they
it's not
could
a
be.
latte, but it could be 100 lattes over the year that, if not spent, could be sitting in an account somewhere, growing and
They
compounding.
they they could be, but when you invest in your kids in like competitive sports like we have, it
Oh
that
yeah,
that
we went through the
those are
thing.
chunkier. It's like when you look at the grand scheme of things, it's like, like I'm not exactly certain what the annual number is for gymnastics. It's nothing like travel soccer or hockey for the love of God or field, like lacrosse or anything like that. But
Volleyball is crazy.
is it? I mean,
Yes.
look, it's a few hundred a month per athlete, and then the season is like 5 grand. I mean, that 5 grand a year per kid, like we've been doing this for a few years.
Oh yeah.
So the goofy dad in me is like, yeah, once I get these kids out of here, like then I'll be good. But like the sad part is like I'm 52 right now, and I'm gonna have a 13-year-old, right? So it's
Yeah.
not like I'm in my late 30s. Like if the timeline were with my oldest son, like he's 28, he's out, he's gone, like then like a lot of this pressure would feel off. And I think maybe that's part of it is just like, we unknowingly traded some of our retirement future and might have burdened our kids with it by having kids later in life. And that's not to say like, well, I can't bring a kid into this world. It's like, no, we absolutely love that we brought our kids into
Yeah.
this world, right? 100%. It's just the reality is like math is what it is. I need triple the income now so I can retire in 10 years.
Yeah, we are in different scenarios in that respect because, my kids are, one's mid 20s, one, early 20s, and I'm 54. So, I think that was a good time for us. Like the timing has worked out. And so I think, man, if I had a 13-year-old right now, that's a minimum. And again, I hate to think about it in terms of just dollars, like, that's 5 more years at least. It's like, but I mean, it's a reality when you're also on the precipice of retirement thinking, okay, well, I should be doing this right now also in retirement. So that's an interesting, I didn't even think about that, from your standpoint
You never
that,
think about me, man. You never freaking think about me, dude.
well, you said it and I'm glad I didn't have to.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting thing. So this like now maybe it doesn't sound so weird that I say, I'm thinking that maybe we just turn this into multi-generational. It's more for like, dude, this way y'all can help pay some of these bills. Like we'll be really close to having the home paid off, but like, then what? I
Yeah.
mean, if I sell it, it's like, what do I buy then? Like, I don't, need more work or, you know what I mean? Like those questions start coming up where, there's that. So it's like, all right, yeah, do we just sort of, is the house something that gets left for the kids? Like I've already, paid off my mom and stepdad's home, to give them some freedom there too. It's like, will my kids be able to do that, to us? Will they be able to help us just kind of alleviate some pressure because they were blessed in some way, and that's why we did it. So who knows? So what am I saving for? Maybe it'll turn out, dude, in 5 years I'm sitting here be like, okay, all right, yeah, it's so that we could put the stuff into the house so that this house lasts long enough for them to start their families here
Well,
too.
we're building this brick. What's the brick by brick in the Lego world?
Yeah,
We're
we
building
are.
this. We'll make our fortunes talking trash on the internet on YouTube.
I really wish. I hope so. So yeah, like and subscribe and do all those things and Patreon us or whatever, like Cash App.
Even though we
whatever.
don't have one.
Yeah, no, that's it. What what's one thing that you're glad you spent? No, not spent. What's one thing that you're glad that you splurged on? What's something that you think you splurged on, first of all, and then are you glad you like find the thing that you're glad?
Thing that I've splurged on, I would say
Ribeye.
it's not even really. I wouldn't say a splurge, but it's one thing that my wife and I have consciously done over the past few years is we don't buy each other gifts anymore for like Christmas or, oh, we lost you.
No,
You're
I'm
back. All right. We don't buy each other gifts for anniversaries or birthdays or Christmas anymore. We will take a weekend or we'll do a trip, just her and I. And I'm glad we invest in that. And we splurge. So I guess it is kind of a splurge because we spend a little more money than we probably would if we were just going to Vegas or something. Like we stay at a nicer hotel or Airbnb, go out to nicer restaurants. I don't know. I think I would rather spend my money on that than, an anniversary card and, some coffee cup that's going to get broken in the dishwasher or something,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
What was the second part?
No, that
So
was
it
it.
was
Like,
the-
what did you?
okay.
I asked really about what you splurged on, and as you were saying those things, I'm
Yeah,
gonna answer
it's
it.
little splurges. It's not one big purchase. It's a bunch of little purchases.
Well, since you asked, I'm glad that we spend money on. Like, we have a pretty
You
good.
didn't give me a chance.
I know, that's why I did it. I wanted to jump in there and then be a good John to me. No, we regularly have date nights, and I'm glad that we spend money on that. And it's not huge at all. It is not huge. It's not glamorous. Right now we're gonna go to Torchy's Tacos every Tuesday night. That's our date night anyway. But we
Okay.
started having regular date nights a good long time ago. Even when we were getting out of debt, we prioritized this because we're like, dude, if we're pissed off about spending money and we're building up all this anxiety, like it's real easy to direct it toward you because you bought this and you back to me because I did that. And, we needed the tires, we needed baby food, like, it's like those things just can become a fight. We're like, well, we need to budget in having a babysitter and having a date night. And we still have date nights now. And I'll tell you, I'll get cranky if it goes a couple of weeks and we haven't had a date night and we start, getting at each other and we're like, it's because we haven't had a date night. We don't know what the Torchy's taco of the month is, so that is one thing. And it's small, but I love it. I look forward to it,
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good.
for sure. What do you want? What do you want to experience? What experience do you want in the future? Since you guys, well, in the next 5 years, let's do that. Not in the future, but like, what experience do you want with Deidre or with me? I don't know. I'm open. In the next 5 years, because it sounds like you prioritize these experiences more, than the things. I think maybe humans naturally start getting that way, and I'm in the same boat. But what are you looking forward to in the next 5 years from an experience?
I am looking forward to, you know, obviously work is going to be work. So, and probably the next 5 years as well. But I'm really looking forward to focusing our attention on building up our reserves, I'll call them, so that we can look at an earlier retirement than 70 or 65. It's now that I'm in the tunnel and I can see the light down the way. It's like, okay, it's starting to get real. Now I'm really just looking forward to that time in the future when we wake up, walk outside on our porch, look at a bunch of trees, have a cup of coffee, chill morning, and it's just my wife and I. Maybe the kids for Christmas.
When did birds become interesting?
So watching birds. That's a yellowtail yarbler.
Is that a real bird?
I don't know.
It probably is.
If only we had a device where we could look up that information.
I'm busy right now. I'm talking to you. I'm not gonna look that up. No, that's really.
Don't we have a what's Rogan's guy?
Yeah, we don't.
What is it? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank.
We don't have one of those guys. I don't have a Mikey sitting in here waiting to look some stuff up for me. Look that up for me. What's his name? I almost had it. Anyway, yeah, we don't have that guy. We don't have that guy. Today, if I were to answer that same question, I'm still cynical and a little irritated from this morning and the way I feel. It's like I'm a woman who had a bad dream about her spouse and she's mad at him. I'm mad at my day because I started it the way that I did, and I was like going to bed subconsciously thinking about like, man, this could be tougher than I want it to be for sure.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, what experiences do I want? Like, dude, I don't know how, but like we've never been on like a real. We got married in Hawaii, but we've never left the U.S. together. And I'd love to go to Italy, or I think Italy would be great. And I know a lot of people that have gone there and stuff like this. I've looked at it and I'm like, bro, I don't know how that would be possible. This would be one of those things where it's like, all right, we're going to do it. This might mean we literally eat cat food on crackers for the last part of our life, but we're going to do it because if we're going to go, we want it to be nice. And I want to do it while my knees aren't, while I don't have a walker, where I can actually climb upstairs and,
right.
All that. So, no regrets. I just have never been to Europe. You know what I mean? I've never seen Verdun. I've never seen any part of Italy. I've never, done any of those things that a lot of people have. I mean, I've been blessed to go through Asia Pac, and I've been to Australia, and most people can't even say that. Like, I've been to New Zealand. I've been to Thailand. I've been to, Kuala Lumpur, been to Hong Kong, been to China. Like, all those things are cool. Been to Japan. But, and I'd be okay there. But like, it'd be really cool to go.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough. I guess it's been 2 years now.
Yeah, that's right. Y'all took a trip over there, the whole fam.
Yeah, I'm so fortunate that I have, no offense to your in-laws, I have the greatest in-laws ever. Like, it isn't even close to. Like, they're even more important to me than my actual parents were. But all that to be said, I hope they're listening. All that to be said, my father-in-law is a very frugal man. He didn't overspend, lived within his means, and he's done very well for himself. And one of the things that he likes to do is he wants to now spend some of the money that he has to bring his family back together with their spouses and their children and things, and then go on a trip and just all of us to be together. So I guess maybe that's something I would love to be able to do. And not in the next 5 years, but 20,
Yeah.
30 years from now, be able to get all the kids and the grandkids and all that stuff and say, hey, we're going to go to Banff or we're going to go to Ireland or something. And I cross my fingers that there's going to be the funds to, to cover all that. But, I look at him as an example of that is the way to do it, because and thinking about his life with my wife and her siblings, they went on vacation every year, and they went on vacation with their cousins. So they'd all get in a van and they'd drive to Yellowstone or they'd drive to the Grand Canyon or wherever. And so they experienced and did things growing up. And now, they're able to now bring that to a new generation, to their grandkids, and then do all that. And it's like, man, that is, if you could just write a book about this is how you do it, that would be, he would be the guy to model it after.
I love that, dude. I love that you have that to go for. Not that my parents don't have profound things that they have taught me through their examples as well. I just feel that it's been more on the, okay, I could learn, I learned how to understand my finances and manage them better through, I sorry, Mom, but just through their failures. Mom couldn't help it because she was poor. Dad could have helped it, but he didn't know better, right? He was uneducated on it, and it is what it is. So
yeah,
I think it's good
to
that
be
you
clear,
have
that's my wife's parents. My parents were, again, not to be harsh, but worthless in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
no, I hear you. I hear you.
So it's to be able to, to marry into a situation like this where you go from arguably one of the worst, I guess, worst scenarios of having people who had no idea or no way to transfer even if they had knowledge, they didn't send it to me, and then go into the exact opposite best scenario situation with the in-laws that I have is like, I just can't express how fortunate I am in that.
That's awesome. Well, dude. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got a hard out, don't you?
I do. I've got it in a few minutes here. So why don't I try
Okay.
to, I'll try to button this up.
Okay.
Saving absolutely matters, right? For lots of reasons. Planning has got to be a part of that. That absolutely matters. But money is just a resource, right? So knowing what it's actually for seems necessary.
I like it.
I did it. Well, there we go.
Cool.
Thanks
That was
for
it.
that.
We're not recording.
I'm still recording. I'm going to end it right now, though. All right.